buddy. I greatly appreciate even more each and every one of you that have come in back and the ones who are here for the first time or might see this for the first time after this live. I think there's a lot to talk about here today, which is very, very important. Some of the biggest things to talk about today is one, we're on the verge of a couple of banks could be going insolvent if this silver closes over $85. We'll hear more about it as the week goes on, especially as the details come out, but it's just, there's a few sources that talk about it, and it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. As far as silver itself goes, very, very bullish. Very, very bullish. There's definitely a scenario where you can see it. And here's the thing. Like, from a selfish reason, I want it to go down and fill an imbalance at around $82 to $83. It's just an imbalance on the chart that you can see. And from a selfish standpoint, I admit, from a selfish standpoint, because I know if it fills that, we're going to 107 very quickly if it holds. And from a selfish standpoint, I would like to see $107 very quickly. Now, if it goes up to 107 first, I'm not going to complain. But that's something that I can see on it from a charting perspective. If we filled that imbalance out, oh my freaking Lord. Even now, it's oh my Lord. I'm not allowed to speak on the miners today. Julie said I just know they're underperforming a little bit what they should be, but that's no surprise because all the money's going into silver right now. Give it a minute. Give it some time. Maybe you got to give it a week. Maybe it takes a week to catch up. We'll see. But, and then I got a lot of questions about the capital requirement as well. The best thing I can tell you is with this new raise, from the new raise in the requirement, is that if you had 1,000 ounces, you would need to put an extra $20,000. You'd have to put an extra $20,000 so that you could keep that position open if you're an option. So that's what a lot of people are getting ready for. Yeah, I've talked about it many times on Q that the one thing that I'll probably get mad at myself for, because of the flip and economic stuff that happened with Venezuela, maybe I shouldn't have been so pat on my stance with oil that it was going to end up breaking down a little bit more, and these oil exploration ones needed to go down more because they were showing the breakdown. But then, circumstances changed, and the chart even showed it. Like, if we held that support, it was volatile up for like 30 to 40%. So it's like, I know we haven't broke out of it for like one of them, but there's just, that definitely seems like a rotation has started in that direction. Let me do the time. So we're going to talk about XRP. We're obviously talk about silver a little bit. We're going around the markets. As much as you guys ask me questions, as much as I will try to answer them and try to get on the same page. So just for reference point, it is Wednesday, January 14th, 2026. And we're just trying to have a good time here, having just more than a good time, but try to have an active discussion. I would like these to become more active. I would like these to become more involved over time. And, just have a little sense of transparency. If you want to send a super chat and stuff, please send it in the, if you are allowed to, send it in the gifts, because it does a cool thing across the screen and it makes people perk up. Every time somebody sends a gift, it gives a little perkiness in the community. So that's what I would implore you to do if you're going to do something like that. Not saying you have to, but. And then outside of that, XRP, what can we say? So XRP, I'm going to answer some of these questions about the gold-silver ratio as well, because I'm very excited about that. I believe XRP, when I started, was at 215 when I was sitting at 216. So XRP is still fine as long as it holds. Right, in my opinion, I know if we stay above 204, but we want it to stay above that 208 area at worst. But I really, from a selfish standpoint, on this candle, hold 214, and if at all costs, at least stay over $2.11 to maintain this little bit of a micro bullish structure that I'm starting to see form. We have a nice inverted pattern, nice W reversal. A Gartley, in fact, a bullish one. Nice flag setup. So that's why selfishly I want 214 to hold. With XDC, I did a little test on Kraken. Fucking awesome. So this will be something I'll teach you in the classes as well about. Sometimes when the money on the screen is going down a little bit, but you're able to improve your positioning, one of two things is happening. One, you're holding and it's going down and you're adding money, which is a good thing to do if you're in a position of accumulation. Two, you see drops coming, you sell them when you buy back in. Let's say it keeps going down, you use that as a way to write off capital losses now. Now all of a sudden, because there's not the same implications like in the stock market with the wash sales, you can use that in crypto. And then if you buy back in, and let's say it goes down a couple percent, well, you sell it, and you know it's going to have a bigger drop. Well, let's say you start with X amount and you end with, Y amount, but it's greater than X amount. When you buy back in, you have more you were intending on sitting there. You knew you had a loss, so you sell it, and then you buy back on this draw. You don't get greedy. It comes down a couple percent. You buy it back if you were going to do it, but then you get to write off that initial loss. Now, if it does the same thing and it continues down after a small, so there's stuff like that. Is it me or is chat different today on the screen? I don't know. I see more stuff pop back up on my screen because one day Julie's didn't have. Oh yeah, Frankie, this is on vertical now. So an example of this, I tested it strong on Kraken. So, and this is just for now. I don't know if it'll stay like this, but I'm testing this. So what I did is, let me go into the history. And it's a big test, and it passed with flying freaking colors. If you're looking for being able to do a swing with large amounts, even. So I sold yesterday, and I believe it was 8:38 a.m. 400,616 XDC. It was done. I went back and bought back, and after the drop that happened, I went back, I used the money that was there, and the fee was 255 XDC, but I was able to buy back cumulatively 416,867 XDC. So I actually was able to improve my holdings by 16,000 XDC. Now on paper, I might be down a tiny bit, but you expand the holdings. Now, I don't know if I'm going to continue holding them. I was just trying to do a test with volatility today, and that was a good test. That was a good test just to see. And I also seen a little bit of a structure that was building. So I said, hey, at the very least, maybe we can get out here in the 30-minute and try to make a little bit of a push up. So it seemed like the right time because eventually we're going to have to retest 4.6 cents, and I know that. So that was a good test. I got to let my cat out. My cat's going nuts. Yeah, no. Well, it's snowing outside, though, Ghost. We're really going down this road. It's snowing, kitty. I guess we are going down that road. He said, I don't care if it's snowing. I'm going outside. Touche, kitty. Touche. Sitting right here in front of the window, after all. Look at that. You guys can see her sitting there. It's funny, once I come into the screen, it blurs it off. That sucks. It distorts it for some reason. It's like the light bounces off of me. I wonder if I can change a setting. What if I turn this off? Nah, that didn't do anything. Nah. None of that's gonna work. Well, that's okay. That's a shame. Whoops, sorry. I gotta switch this. I know this is annoying. There. Alright. What about on this magic thing with this, what is this? Retouch? What the hell is that? No, that's not gonna help. But yeah, let's get back to this while we have time together. So, let's see what I missed. Some bought a little bit more EDA. But your average down. Hey! That's what it's all about. Yeah, XLR is up a ton. Ton. The ton. Yeah, I think it does redirect the focus, but it still kind of sucks. I wish it didn't bounce off me like that because it's a nice view when I'm not in screen. When it resets it, well, if it ever does. But yeah, we are in a with XMR. It's absolutely in a price discovery. It's off to just a parabolic streak, and that's one of the privacy tokens. But guys, I can't keep up on silver, but just watch that imbalance. I don't know, MQ, have you been watching it around $82 and $83? I think that would be a monster spot to try to a monster spot to look at miners if we do come to that imbalance. I'm telling you, I didn't say hold your money on the miners today for no reason. If we do come back to that imbalance, my God. I don't know if we're going to. But I want it to from a selfish standpoint, so it can go up to 107. Yeah, we're going to get some pretty interesting weather here coming up. Today, I know we can get, Julie, Vince was saying like 3 inches.
Today?
Yeah, it's starting to snow. Into tomorrow, maybe. The next couple of days are going to be interesting.
It'll be fine.
Yeah, it'll be real fine.
It's good.
Mm-hmm. We only have a mile. Half a mile to drive to T. But, hey, Frankie, I hope you're doing well. Was asking about you. Yeah, we were all asking about you and Janine, Frankie Fresh. We actually talked about you by name. I'm glad you're here, buddy. I hope Janine's doing well and blessed as well. Mrs. Stott, welcome, and along with MQ, and thank you guys for being in Tom's Army, along with Cape Cod Kyle Kupiak, all of my friends in Tom's Army that I can at least see. Oh, somebody sent a little gift. I didn't even notice because I walked away. Let's see. The floating heart. Mrs. Stott, thanks for the floating heart. And what else did it say? The party hat. I love it. Thank you so much. We missed you too. We missed you both too, Frankie. We always do. We always do. I'm not sure exactly how you guys want to approach this. Like, do you want to talk about the gold silver ratio, like how it's come down almost to 50-1? Do you want to talk about some of the news that's going on? We know that the tariff thing got delayed again. They're not going to rule on it today. So, in theory, that could be a bullish setup for Bitcoin or XRP. So, oh, too involved with copper. Makes sense. Makes sense, MQ. I can understand that. Tom, you think we can have silver and gold go up at the same time as crypto in this cycle? I think they're going to work off of each other. When one of them is going back to tap support, the other one's going to take the ability. If crypto wants to have that sound move, it's got to have a little bit of money flow into it. There's just got to, it can even be small moments like how we've seen retest before. It just, we need to have some kind of rotational movement. Now, the one fear is that a lot of this money is going to get siphoned into oil. If that starts to happen, you know, we're probably talking about a war starting too. So risk assets don't usually fare very well in times of war. And that very well could be the other part of gold and silver, not just because of the shortages, because the shortages continue to go on for the last several years. But there's something more. There's a different variable. You know, there's a different variable. So it's either crypto is going to not be in a 4-year cycle, or while it's in this 4-year cycle of bearishness, which it's still partly in, because the cycle didn't, everybody acts like the cycle repeated. It didn't, though, because the altcoins didn't do shit. Yeah, I know XRP did, but the majority of altcoins with utility, like, let's be honest, XDC's sitting here at under 5 cents still, so how good could it have actually done in this cycle? You know? You got Algo sitting at, what, 12, 13 cents? You got H-Bar under 12 or right around 12 cents. I mean, they haven't done anything. XLM's not even at 20, what, 3 cents? So I think we're going in a good direction. We just got to find our way to get there. But yeah, I think money's moving back and forth too. And we know our government is going to use a lot of this because when you have the printing presses on, the easiest way for the government to make a bunch of money is to move up risk assets. Buy in at every dip and then be able to, ride it out with just the taxpayer money. It's a perfect risk-free game. Oh, I'll flex for you guys one time because I told you guys I would every time. So, had a nice workout today too. I can't wait to drink my protein and stuff. I'm hangry today. But yeah, Iran's in a very tough spot. Very, very tough spot right now. It's not talked about a lot, but the yen, like in Japan, I'm glad somebody mentioned it this morning. That is a big top. To me, that's a topic of discussion. Because if they have to start selling silver to cover cost, what does that do? Like the yen, it's crazy. That's something that could throw a variable in all of this. So, do you still expect a dump related to the January 15th event? If we can get a proper pump, right now we're not pumping at all. The 15th, I mean, the Clarity Act, here's the thing. I don't know if you would just pump on the news itself or if the news is what signals that last grab all attention kind of rally to where you can dump into the summer because they're going to have to pump up crypto. They're going to have to bump up crypto going into the elections at the end of the year. That's a big thing that Trump ran on. And if they want the Republicans, the stupid cat and mouse game that the people watch, but if you want that to continue, you would have to pump up crypto at the right time. And just like the stock market and risky assets, remember, look, everybody's like, hey, the stock market keeps going up and up and up. That's the sign of good things. Is it? Man, Venezuela's stock market doubled after we kidnapped their president or, got their president. It doubled. So that's not an indication that things are good. Oftentimes when the stock market's running against the natural things, it's just to keep the elitist or to keep the money staying up with inflation. Like, I still have this feeling in my gut that all we're doing is we're set up like XDC is, and it's in the pit of my stomach, and all we're going to do is we're going to fall out. Just like XDC did, and that's the bad feeling I have. That's bad, Tom. That's my gut feeling. That is my gut feeling that XDC is actually showing us something, and we could fall out. And I hope I'm wrong. And if that's the case, then XDC is going to pump a little bit. If I'm wrong. Well, I guess it has to do it either way because it has to come tap some of this resistance. But that's a gut feeling that maybe XDC's out ahead of us and this is going to be a problem. That's why I keep saying we need this to break on XRP before losing, especially that 211 area is going to be brutal if we get below. 214 is like a safety net, though. If we're above 214, you breathe. When you get below 214, you go, uh-oh. You get to 211 and you're like, oh. And then if you get to 208, you're like, oh. It's one of those things. And then you can exhale because you're going down to $1.80. So, that's a funny world we live in, guys. It's a crazy world we live in. Crazy world indeed. It's a crazy world indeed. Ah, crap. It switched my screen off where I was reading from. Lots of questions. I was trying to see a direction to go. There's a lot of different directions in the comments. Um, I mean, what helps the currency be a dinar? Is that what you said? Like, what helps strengthen it? I mean, obviously having a budget that's not trillions and trillions of dollars in debt. To a dinar or a strong currency, we would be considered the shitar. So the dinar, which is a strong currency, the USA's equivalent would be the shitar. So if you want to know why things are so expensive, we forgot about dinar and we have shitar. That's the truth. But the dinar has to have, if you want your currency to strengthen, you're gonna have to. What did my brother say? Oh, you have to have your currency have a reason to strengthen. So good monetary policy that actually doesn't put you, in a bad spot, and it's got to be backed by something like gold and silver. At one time, the U.S. dollar, we had to consider our currency. It would be considered a dinar, but silver we only discussed a little bit, but with the capital requirement, it's basically on 1,000 ounces. If you have a call option, they wanted 20% more basically, and this was on top of what they've already raised. So, it basically costs like the bigger person who wants to hold call options. They're raising because of the risk. Their own thing. They've done this in every other market to try to sabotage the price. Every time it goes a little up too volatilely, this is their game plan. They always raise the capital requirements. And then the thing that it might work in its favor is we do have an imbalance in the price. And I'll keep saying it at 82 and 83. So in theory, if we come back down and fill that, and it is at the breakout of the old all-time high before the last drop, so it would make sense even to come back and fill any gap that was left there on the volatile pushback up. But then from a selfish standpoint, if that actually happened, it would go up to 107. So I'd be very happy. Oh, I'd be very happy. Bull flag forming in daily possibly. Let me pull it up on my phone. But definitely, it looks like the making of a bull flag. That's why I really wanted 211 to stay intact. I wanted 214, but I don't know if that's going to hold. I think it's going to probably try to test that 211 area, unfortunately. If history tells us anything. Anthony Venegas, welcome in, my friend. Thank you for saying hi. I appreciate it. Appreciate the hello. Let's see. What other comments? It's just a matter of time. Nah, we're kind of bouncing it out of discussions based on what everybody said. Cannabis Podcast says Luxembourg also legalized cannabis. Welcome to the club, Luxembourg. And Ripple got another license in Luxembourg. Coincidence? Or do you get the citizens high along with the politicians before you can pass these regular, things in our favor? Or stone. But I have a bad gut feeling. I don't think XDC is just an exception to the rule. If I may say so, I think it's telling us. I think this weekly candle is probably going to go upside down, and it pisses me off. But I'm just saying, I don't think XDC is going to be the exception to the rule here. It really doesn't feel like that to me. I hope I'm wrong. But does it feel like XDC is going to be the exception to the rule? Does it look like we're about to take it up the you-know-what? I don't know. You tell me. I can't quite. I don't know if I'm ready to throw in the towel just yet. But it kind of looks like the market it's faking us out and we're going to go down to $1.80. But we still have the hope. As long as we hold $1.11, remember. But I don't know, man. I really don't know. I'm starting to really question the fact that XDC would just go down on its own. I don't know. I really don't know. Why was XDC's not meant to be chosen by Swift? It would defeat the purpose. XDC does something far greater than Swift will ever do. But this flag is still very much set up in a lot of things, so we can't give up until it's time to give up in this movement. Now for XDC, I would probably, where would I look at? I would look at 434. The test succeeded, so I already have a limit sell for when it gets back to where I bought it. If it were to break down again, so. But I'm not going to do it artificially. I'm just going to let it come back down and sell it out, or just ride up. But I wanted to do that test, and it seemed like a good enough spot. So we'll see. The rest of this, however, I'm just looking at the updated. I don't know. I still see a bull flag set up, though, right now. So I still think it, like when I say it's going to break down like XDC, it still feels like we go up one. Like it feels like we go up one more layer. But the question is do we go up that one more layer? Like for XRP, it feels like we should go to 2024 or 2000 or $2.24. I feel like that's what it's meant to do. So we'll probably get a nice little pump, hopefully leading into the, the clarity bullshit. Well, the trend until the end, and unfortunately we're in a downtrend. But in this recent couple of days, we have a nice inverse pattern. We have a nice breakout, back test, confirmed, nice little bull flag possibly set up. And as long as 211 holds, we technically shouldn't be concerned. XRP ETF client sell 40.8 million worth of XRP in first day of outflows since launch. Sounds about right. That actually sounds about right to me. I talked about stuff about that on Facebook a few days ago when it started to reverse with the outflows. I just think if it comes back here, because I'm not allowed to look at miners today, and in a couple days, like if we did retrace and you see miners down 10% all of a sudden when it looked like there was nowhere else for them to go, don't say that we weren't talking about it. Say that you were looking for opportunity and you waited to start buying when you seen it at $91, especially if you didn't buy it at the $22 and $17 miner prices. But there's a lot of stuff playing into this pullback if it happens. Please, and I talked yesterday about please taking profits while we make this movement. It's just, it's the time. It's the time. We got up to the technical target area, so, and we know there's so many things. And I know a lot of people today woke up and they buy. I know it. I know they were buying. They can't go nowhere but buy. I don't know if they're up or down today. They're probably up because silver's, as far as I know, it's still around 91. I haven't been paying attention to it since this live started because, for obvious reasons, I don't have my phone. But it's going to come down. It's not going to hold 91 and 90 for very long, at least right now. The capital requirement went up to a crazy level. And there's that imbalance. I think it works against it today. I think today's the day when you should have stayed basically not even looking at that market, besides the metals, and you keep a clear head going into Thursday and to see what's actually going on or to see what kind of levels of support we can hold. Yeah, $89.82. So we'll see what this is meant to do right now. We're going to see if it's got some testicular fortitude. We're going to find out very quickly. I'd be willing to bet most of the miners. Can somebody tell me? They're probably bound a couple percent. I know it sounds crazy. I'm not allowed to look at them, as you know. Julie made me delete it today so I wouldn't look at it. So I don't have any miners on my phone. I know I could easily type it in, but I'm not going to break the rules. But they're gone today. But I would be willing to bet they're down a couple percent a piece today. I know it seems like it goes against conventional logic because of what's going on with silver. But that's usually what happens when we're starting to hit some kind. The miners know. The miners know. It's just like the charts know before the news. The miners know before gold and silver. They're going down, Mrs. Stott says. Interesting. Very interesting. It's amazing how this kind of stuff works. It all works in unison. So that means money's got to find yield. So now our question is the money going to get subdiverted into oil, or is this where we get that push to 224? Because my gut tells me, even if we break down, we should go to 224. But it's hard to convince your gut that when, you're in the middle of a shitstorm, so to say. We'll hope our gut's right. And if it's not, so be it. We'll live to fight another day. Well, because we've got a lot of battles still to fight in this damn market. We already know that. More battles than we like to care to admit. Poly market has a shutdown at 30% chance. Well, I'll tell you what, guys, we're going to learn a lot when we do the Fed interest rate, the FOMC meeting. And it's coming up quickly. Everybody's focused on the shutdown. I'm focused on something else right now. I think that FOMC meeting is going to be blazing hot. Oh, blazing. And it's on January 28th and 29th. And when's the shutdown? Government shutdown. Let's see. What's the date for the government shutdown? I know for the FOMC meeting, it's the 28th, the start of the 2-day meeting, and then the 29th. And then the 31st. How about that? And then the 31st is the government shutdown bill. That no miners today rule is killing you, Tom. Sorry, buddy. Oh, Dan, it is killing me. I love watching them, especially when they're going up and down. I like when there's movement that is unexpected, but that we kind of are thinking is going to happen. Because it makes perfect sense. The miners were telling it yesterday, like, be careful. Only because we're getting to some exhaustion with silver right now. And I know that because everybody's talking about thoughts on peanut butter fit powder. Oh, it's my favorite. That's the one I use. I just ran out of it. It's my favorite, Mike. That's how I got these. It's that fit powder. It wasn't heavy lifting or protein. No, I really do. I believe in the protein powder. Or I mean the peanut butter fit powder. I don't eat peanut butter anymore. I don't eat peanuts. I don't eat any kind of like cashews or anything. And in fact, today I have my cashew powder coming as well, and it's the peanut butter fit 2 one as well. And I like the taste of cashews, but so I'll either eat it like powder itself, It's yeah. It's one of those things. I really do like it. What did you say? Knick-Knack Patty Rex said, hello, Tom and Army, sending the positive vibes like you like me, one big happy family with a knick-knack paddywhack, give a dog a bone. This old man is going home. My new song. I think of it every time I say your name. I only said it one time, though. I only said knick-knack paddywhack, give a dog a bone one time. But it lives rent-free in my head every time I see your name, I must say. Look at me, even this old guy can say rent-free, and he knows how to use it in context. Look, I'm making it. Yeah, just look for opportunity, though. The miners can be down, and then they can be up, and then they can be down. But I'm not going to talk about those anymore. I'm forbidden. Silver is probably going to, even if it went down, now it's got to retest to move down. So what are we going to go back to? 90. What was the high? What would be like the 60% move from the swing high to that swing low we were just at? Because I don't know how far it went. I know it was 89 something. Now we got to swing back up to at least 91 something. I don't know what it would be, though. It's hard. Classes are starting the first week of February. Monday. I don't know what the date is. Monday, February. Oh, and I can't wait. I'm super stoked. I shared a little class syllabus with everybody, and I think Made everybody even more intrigued because it's definitely not what you would expect. It is February 2nd is Monday. So it's the 2nd, the 2nd of February. So February 2nd, 2026. And you'll get a heads up before the class starts. And then if you're not there in real time, it'll be there forever. Let's see. B2 is up 4 cents. Interesting. Very interesting indeed. Trying to see if there's any news I missed. Let me type some stuff out. Because there's going to get, at some point, and today might not be the big move. It could still be consolidation, but at some point, there's still a move to come for the miners. Tomorrow, I'll look at it again when I'm not forbidden. But for today, I think today's a nice patient day to grasp and see what happens. But tomorrow, I can talk about it more. For now, I'll just look at gold and silver. Let me go back to silver. $90.51 now. See, good volatile movement. Very volatile movement. This is where we're going to see a big reaction here. Are we going to come back up? And is this going to continue the movement up in the flight? Because that's an extreme wick. Or is this where it starts to cool off a little bit? We'll know. You're going to know if it doesn't come back above. So we had a shoulder at 91.50 possibly. A head at 92.25. In the small time frame, if it gets broken at this neckline of this shoulder, or like at the extension part, and it can't get above 91.54, you know that something extreme could happen. Gets above 91.54, smoke the stogie because we're going higher, folks. To at least 93 and some change, and possibly even higher. You know. Stoke the stogie if that happens is all I'm going to say. Stoke the stogie. I want to stoke the stogie. I want to come on here for a week straight and be like, oh my God, guys. Silver, gold's up $600. Silver's up 12%. Did you see XRP? It's up 18%. And mine, oh my God, we're making a bank. That's what I want to say. But for some reason, every time one sector gets me happy, the other sector kicks me in the dick. And then the other one says, hey, Tom, I'm going to wine and dine you just so the other one can gate me at the frickin' brass knuckles. The only sure bet seems to be that silver and gold and the miners. They don't disappoint me lately. They did for years, but this is the year of good faith, apparently. Hey, I like seeing the floating heart. The floating heart. Thank you, Anthony Venegas. I really appreciate that. I do. I appreciate that. Somebody said, look at IOTA. What's IOTA doing? IOTA is down to almost 10 cents right now. Oh, yeah, IOTA's flipping that shoulder. See? Oh, that's in the 1 minute. Never mind. Oh, yeah, look, we got a head and shoulders. If these don't invalidate this, you can see the head and shoulders on IOTA very clearly on the right shoulder, possibly. If we look at Algo, you can see a double top possibly form. Yeah, you know what? If we're honest with ourselves, we're at the early stages of a reversal if this continues. If we're honest with ourselves, unless we break out of this, we're at the very first signs of the reversal. But we can still go up higher. See, we have to invalidate this movement, that's all. XRP, same thing. We could be at that early start of the movement if we can't reverse this. And then that you'll know with XRP and these other ones if you come down a little bit. Interesting indeed. But IOTA, again, if we have some early front runners, whoever said IOTA, that's a great signal because IOTA's pushed around now to where it looks like a head and shoulders. But it's only in the smaller time frames, mind you. Because in the 2 hourly, when you look at these same setups, you could very well say that these are inverse head and shoulders, you know, that need to come down to, you know, a certain layer. But if they break down past that certain layer of, like, for IOTA, about 10 cents, and then it breaks through 9.4, it definitely was a head and shoulders like the smaller time frames were showing. So there is a lot of stuff going on here indeed, if you want to talk from that perspective. It's almost like I said with the miners, it might be the get out of the way, and you know, if you're not in yet, you wait. You're not trying to do, you're not being a superhero here. We're in indecisive moments. You know, you're not trying to be a superhero here. What you're trying to do is make sure you don't lose all your capital before we get to where we're going. I'm just saying. That's what we're trying to do here, folks. I'm not saying I like what I'm seeing. In fact, I'm going to tell you the opposite. I hate what I'm seeing right now. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. So, I'm just going to choose to have a lot of capital on the sideline. That Kraken order is going to end up selling out here in a second if XDC comes down. So, I'm going to have a significant amount of capital for if this happens. And then I'm going to tell you exactly how I decided to finalize my portfolio in the proportion I decided. But my stuff is always strategically set, so I don't have to ride the market down. There's no guarantee that the stop orders or the trigger orders will work, but you know, we all have our own little strategy so that we can stay accustomed to this market. But we'll see. If nothing's given away yet, you know, nothing's given up. It's just we're showing the early warning signs that, you know, maybe we just put in a head and shoulders very sneakily here. So just pay attention. Pay attention. There's a lot of stuff going on here this morning. I'm going through these charts real quick, and every single one of them is trying to throw this little shoulder now. I don't know. Is anybody else seeing this, or am I kind of just reading too much into this? I don't think I am reading too much into this. I think this is starting to happen, unfortunately. I could be reading too much into it. Sometimes I do. I sometimes do. I'm sure you guys will let me know if I'm reading too much into it, right? Anybody? Even a hater? No. I kid myself. I kid. But our metric hasn't been met yet for us to give up the good fight, remember? But it's definitely rotating over. It's rolling over a little bit here. That's okay. The market is what the market is what the market is what the market is. That's all I can say about that. The market is what the market is. You know what's funny? I think we're okay with the market being what it is, but sometimes it can be a little, what's the right word? Kicking the nut is? Kicking the nut-esque? Is that the right word? Because you're always watching and you're waiting and you're watching and you're waiting and you're watching and you're waiting. What's Bitcoin doing? Ooh, I didn't even think about Bitcoin. Yeah, that's the other part of this. If we hold MQ, we definitely could cup and handle up to that 106. It does make a lot of sense to come up there. The technical shot out of here on this breakout is 106, so I haven't lost faith yet. It just, if we were to break down, we know where we're going. But I haven't lost faith yet. I think, honestly, like we said, XRP $2.24, and stuff like that. So we're not done yet, though. I just think when we do finish this, we'll have to watch it very hardcore. That's all. But I still think we have a tremendous opportunity at this very moment. It's just we want to make sure. I don't know. You guys know what we're talking about. I think everybody who's paying attention, we've got a chance still, guys. It's not over by a long shot yet. That's exciting to know, at least, right? That's at least invigorating. At least I think it is. But, you know, at any time if it breaks down, I will let you know. That's why I'm trying to give you both sides of this all the time. I want everybody to not feel like they're being left out. You know, I want everybody to just, so you understand, like, we're not in a bad spot here at all. We're actually we're in a, we're in a better than not spot here is the crazy part. That's the best way to put it. We're in a better than not spot for at least a little bit of continuation if we don't fully break down. Look at the chart in the group. Let me pull this up on my phone. Oh, I'm sorry, I was looking at something. Yeah, I don't know. I don't really see a lot of stuff here that makes me go, oh my God. Not yet. I don't have that feeling yet. You know, I don't have that overwhelming feeling right now. In fact, at least for the foreseeable moment, I'm more optimistic in the moment, to be honest. In the foreseeable moment, I'm becoming more optimistic. But, you know, we still, let me see what everybody's talking about in the Telegram. Absolutely. That makes perfect sense, MQ. That makes perfect sense because we just broke out of this consolidation. And it makes perfect sense with that movement. And that movement actually lines up absolutely on just the, I mean, it couldn't work out any better where it would end up, the movement up. It would put it at, let's go to the right XRP chart. In this the Bitcoin chart, the breakout goes to, and it would be also on the other chart, because now you're back within that little rising channel or the rising wedge, which that makes it interesting in itself. I mean, that would make it real interesting if we could get back up there. I'm not even going to lie. But this technical move out of this consolidation that built this little cup you're talking about, this technical target that I have built out is up to 106,000 or 107,000 almost. Although it broke out a little bit later, so let me revalue it. Hold on. It did break out a little bit later than we had it on where it was sitting. So the technical move suggests, let's see how close it is. 105,512 roughly. Oh no, it's a little bit higher than that. I forgot I'm in the daily time frame. I'm put into a lower time frame. So I can get the most accurate view of this. I mean, it's right at about 106. Yeah, 106. I agree. If this plays out, 106K would be the target for Bitcoin. 106K, absolutely. And if we go to 106K, and we've been talking about that spot for so long because that's legitimately, as you go over time, that's a big retest on a breakdown area, but it does put you back in, if we get there quick enough, into that rising wedge, which would make it very interesting if that area, in fact, could start be using as support. Yeah, and we've been talking about getting up to the daily 200 for a very long time. No, MQ, it's been a very long time, and it would be, you know what this is? This would be another case where the technicals, even in murky waters, led us to the promised land again. You know, it might not have seemed like it in the moment, but it's absolutely where it could get us back to the promised land. And I would contend, like, we want to hold $2.11 area. We really don't want to come farther down than that. I don't want to come farther down than that. I don't know. It feels good though the way that we feel like we're starting to dominate these charts together. I feel really good about this. This whole thing we're starting to set up. Like, I feel really good about what we're putting together. The product here. The product. You know, it's another one I would not undervalue in this moment if we do have a push up would be V-Chain. V-Chain's going to have the viability to have a big move if we do get out of here. You know, but that's another story for another day, obviously. But that's one that I believe will have a lot of, it'll do very well in this, if we do have some movement. I really believe it. Enough to where I, you know, it just sits there. Whether I'm right or wrong, I'll never know until something happens. Let's see. Yeah, I don't really see anything else. Like, I'm not anything else anybody wants to talk about that hasn't popped into the radar yet. I know we've been on here another 51 minutes. I don't really see a lot that I'm not sure what else to cover here. I mean, obviously, I'm always open to hear whatever, if anybody has any suggestions, if you want to talk about anything. Dun, 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 dun. Don't mind me. I'm just trying to pass the time until I see the, the firmament. Yeah, the protective layer around the Earth that we technically can't get into space, but do we want to go down that conspiracy road? I don't know. But yeah, you know, if you read the Bible, if you're into the spiritual stuff, like, speaks of the firmament above and below, so you can only go so high and only can go so low. Regarded by the heavens, basically. It's a blessing and a feeling. It's a good feeling to have. It's a good feeling to have. So V-Chain we talked about. You know what other one? In this moment, we haven't talked about it in a while. Let's see. I want to see what it's at right now. Get the right chart. And it's had a little bit of movement. But if we get some real movement here, like real movement, and, you know, obviously we'll know here coming up with Bitcoin, but we're at a point here with this chart where it's very desirable if we get movement up. Yes, there's very high risk of lots of losses, but at where it's at in the weekly and in the monthly, you gotta still pay attention to SHX. It's in a very interesting spot right now for very strong volatile movement at that. So pay attention to that if you have the ability, which on Kraken it's always mispriced too much, so it's not really one on Kraken that you're gonna be able to hammer into, unfortunately. DAG is another one. It's at 1.32 cents. On Kraken, let's see on the other ones. Never really like to just look at Kraken, to be honest. Yeah, see, it's like 10% higher on Kraken. Some would consider that just a crime. So you've got that. And then if I was looking at one that gets considered a meme token all the time, but I know it's going to have a privacy upgrade soon, and just eventually it's going to be something a lot stronger than it seems, I think Shiba. I know it sounds crazy, but on this next movement right now, remember, me and MQ talked about it not too long ago when we bought it. And yeah, it hasn't done dick really, 10%, not even. Whatever this movement's been. But if this movement plays out, you're talking about a move on it. Yeah, it's not going to break the bank, believe me. It's not going to be like, oh, my dick got knocked off. But it would have an artificial movement up to about the 1, 2, 3 level. Point, into the next zero. And if this actually has the upgrades they're talking about in 2026, call me intrigued, but if it actually is going to have that privacy update, you know, this could be one of the straightest, most unseen ones in a long time, and all of a sudden it's going to have that this parabolic movement that it once had before. So well, Shiba, if somebody said $3 for Shiba, I ain't going to $3. Be lucky to get to a cent. We're at 0, 0, 0, unless you're talking about XRP. There is a chance XRP could get back to $3 if this movement played out properly. Yes, there is. Believe it or not. And I'm not telling you to break the bank. Like, don't break the bank on Shiba. Like, if it does what we think, you're not going to have to buy a gazillion. You know, if you were able to throw, what is it? Let me see how much this is right now. I just want to see the pricing. And it's so cheap right now that I can't believe it's so cheap. Well, I can believe it's so cheap, but if you bought that 250,000, one 250 mil. See, that's why I can't go to a dollar. You're telling me 250 million tokens is only $2,200 right now, as Shiba? Is it for real? Am I reading this wrong? Maybe it's 25 million. No, it looks like 250 million. 250 million tokens is $2,200 right now. Is that right? That is some crazy shit. That's some crazy wild stuff right there. I'll tell you what. It can't be. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. 30 million. Well, okay, so let me write this out because now it's confusing me. So this is 3, 0, 0, 0. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's 8 zeros. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. What is this? What's that number? How much is that? 30 million? Yeah, 30 million. Okay. This looks weird. There's too many zeros for the exchange. 30 million, that's gotta be. You sold 200. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, wait a minute. 1, 2, 3. Oh, there's 8 zeros. It is 300 million. There's 8 zeros. There's 1. I think there's 8 zeros. Hold on. This is fascinating. I told you it's fucking me up because the last time I was watching Shiba before I started watching it again, it was so cheap. Okay, fine. Let's get the old calculator out. Let's just get the calculator out. 2,600 and let's just say you have $3,000. $3,000 divided by what's Shiba's price right now? Shiba's price is in real time. Shiba 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. Okay, so 0.00000 882. Well, it says 88 there, so 0.0000882. That would be 340,136,054 points. Okay, it is 340 million shares. I'll be damned. Wow. Okay. So on BitUnix, it's 300 and So 3,000, let's see how even it is here. 340,900 or 909,000 on Kraken. That's what I mean. If you got Kraken Pro, you're not getting ripped off. It's not how it used to be on some of the other exchanges. So I would highly consider Kraken if you're looking to be on a tier 1 exchange. It's like, honestly, like, I'm very happy with that part of it. That's not bad. And yeah, I agree with you, MQ. I think in time, I do think it's going to knock some socks off, if I must say so. And I don't think you're going to have to hold as much as people think. I mean, it doesn't hurt to have a stash of it. But I don't think it's going to need to be like this ungodly amount. I think, I don't know. Yeah, so it's 60. So that's a good reason. And I'm not saying we're trying to be mean. I'm saying it's just a good perspective to look at. Look how far it's come down even now compared to where you had bought it. That's what we used to talk about in yesteryear. You know, can you get it when things are 75, 80, 90% off? And I'm not saying nothing. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just saying the pricing it is now compared to what it was. When we did this a few weeks ago, it was right now it's at 879. When we did this a few weeks ago, it was at 7.2 something. So, and I'm not saying it's a good or bad buy. I'm just saying. If we have price movement to the upside and Bitcoin goes to 107, this would be a good area if Bitcoin does that. Now, if we break down, you know, that's the risk reward here. But yeah, this is one of the few ones that actually had the wick down on October 10th. October 10th. And it actually filled that wick down. There's not very many of them that have come down and retested that wick. This basically came within fractions of fractions. So it cleared that whole exhaust wick out. So, but it's going to be one that would have one of the bigger moves probably. If we actually break out here, it would have one of the expansions, but if it broke down, obviously you'd have a big breakdown. So it's all about risk reward here. Do you like it enough or do you not like it? Like, I can obviously say V-Chain's another one as well. So, yeah, Christmas morning, yep. I remember talking about it at Christmas time with you too, for sure. I remember talking about it a lot actually around Christmas. We talked about a lot of good stuff then. A lot of good fun stuff. A lot of real good fun stuff actually. Let's see. I'm just going through the charts, but I'm gonna have to get off of here soon. Like, I know Julie's gonna be coming out, and I've been on a lot longer than I meant to be, but that's okay. Sometimes it happens. We got a lot of movement in the markets. A lot of movement in the markets. Hi, Julie. I'm about to log off. Yeah. Yeah. And then we'll see everybody. We'll see by the time we meet up again. We'll see what ends up happening. Picture chart incoming. Ooh. Let me take a look at that real quick, MQ, before I leave. I gotta head back to work. Yep, Maple Man, I appreciate you being here, my friend, and being in Tom's Army. All of you, I really appreciate it. Yeah, I can't give you an update on DGB. I haven't looked at it in too long. Unfortunately. Let's see. Got a message from Robin that I need to update a cost based on XLM I bought in 2023. If I don't update, it says my tax return will be delayed. Huh. I don't know. I haven't been on Robinhood in a while, but I don't know. Not sure what that. You're gonna have to deal with that. There's a lot of nonsense. A lot of nonsense that'll continue to come down the pipeline with more regulation, unfortunately. But for Shiba, I mean, you have a double bottom at 8295, so we're kind of looking to hold this rotation. You don't really want to give back the, 8657 area. And then you're looking for a push up if this breaks out. First area is up to that 10538, so that's definitely a healthy push up. So it'll be fun to watch. So anyhow, have a good one, everybody. I hope you guys all have a blessed day, and we'll do this again later.